Good evening, my beautiful people. So today we are making shrimp Alfredo. I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. It is very simple. It is something that you can change out with pastas. You can make it simpler. If you do not like one of the ingredients, you can alternate. So for example, we have cilantro in it. If you want to put some parsley, you can do that. If you want a little bit less garlic, you can do that. But it's quite simple. I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. So this is the shrimp that I was telling you guys about on other videos that I have. These are black tiger shrimp. I got a bag that's a pound for $11 in Aldi's. Only thing is a little more work in the sense of they are not deshelled, so I'll deshell them. But part of it is already deveined. So deveined meaning that the vein is not right there. But since it's a big one, I'm gonna cut the inner vein as well, just in case, because sometimes when it has a good size on it, it can have a vein on the inner side. And this one has a small one, as you can see. The size of this shrimp is basically a colossal, and that means that it's a bigger size, so not a jumbo, not a medium size. You're gonna get about 8 to 12 shrimp for a pound. So this is a nice size. It's gonna be hearty, a nice meatier bite, and I hope you guys enjoy it. But you can use whatever type of shrimp if you want a smaller one, if you want that one that's already deveined. I prefer this because when it cooks so nicely. It turns quite white and on the outside a beautiful pink. All right, so we're gonna be cutting some onions. This is a little bit less than half of an onion, and we're just gonna do a nice slither. So, as thin as you possibly like it. I don't like mine chunky because I don't want it to be, you know, too big of a bite, especially with a pasta. And if you like a lot of onions, you could do the whole thing. I'm gonna do half of it, so it'll be a quarter of an onion. This is a sweet onion. You can do red onions if that's your preference, or a yellow onion. And this is a nice handful of cilantro. And we're just gonna cut it down. Easy way that I realized to cut it is to bundle it up in a knot and then cut down. Watch your fingers, so put your fingers inward so you don't have no accidents. And as you can see, now it's a little bit more easy to manage, and that's gonna be about half of a bundle. So, handful, all right? These are the two vegetables that we're gonna be utilizing, or herb and a vegetable. I am starting to make the shrimp. And I have a cast iron pan that's heating up. I have it coated lightly with some coconut oil. So the pan is getting hot. And I'm gonna put some clarified butter, ghee butter, or you can have some melted butter. I'm gonna put about a tablespoon. I want it to be pretty hot just because we want that shrimp to have a nice charring on the outside, or just a little crust caramelization. I'm gonna put a half a tablespoon of garlic, and that's basically gonna let me know how hot this is. So it's still not crazy hot, but it's getting there. Now it's heating up quickly. And let's place these shrimp. These are the shrimp that were cut, deveined. And I'm just placing them sideways, side by side, because there's quite a few of them. So they all cook evenly. We don't want to overcook shrimp, but this is a pretty thick shrimp, so it shouldn't overcook too quickly. There we go. Now it's grilling. I'm gonna start putting seasoning on it. So I have some Cajun seasoning. Sprinkle that. I like a nice spice. I'm gonna only put a little bit of Himalayan pink sea salt. I'm gonna be putting a little extra heat, some cayenne pepper. The Cajun seasoning don't have cayenne pepper, but I just want a little bit more, as well as I want to put a little bit of chili powder. These are optional things. You do not have to have them. I'm only going to be seasoning that on the top side. On the bottom side, I won't put more cayenne pepper. I won't put more chili pepper. I probably will put some black pepper and some garlic powder. But just one side, I'll give it a little extra flavor because you don't want to overpower the Alfredo with too much spice. So I'm gonna start turning these shrimp over. They're already, you can tell, turning a little pink on one side. Remember, shrimp holds a little bit of water, so you don't want to add any water to it. It will actually steam out itself. That's why it's good to have the pan nice and hot. As you can see, these are nice sized shrimp. The bottom of the pan is a little bit, you see some of the spice, but once we throw some of the cooking wine in there and butter, that will move that hard bottom off, and we're gonna get a nice flavor and nice sauce. All right, I'm gonna put 1 tablespoon of butter. This is just a regular pure Amish butter. As you can see, the bottom is moving with the herbs off of there and spices. And it's just been cooking for about a minute. I'm gonna put 1 more tablespoon of butter. And now I'm gonna throw in the 1/4 of the onions and some of that cilantro. And to give it a nice little flavor, I'm gonna put in some capers that has a nice little salt consistency, and vinegar. This is gonna be about 1/2 teaspoon. You don't want too much because it can overpower with the salt. And last but not least, we're gonna be putting some cooking wine. This is a golden cooking wine. You can buy regular white wine. You can do different type of wine, just nothing that's too heavy. We want the wine to be a nice pairing with it. So that's gonna be a little bit of about 1/2 cup. It's gonna make a nice little sauce. As you can see, we'll give it about a minute and it will be done. So it's thickening up. I did taste the sauce and it tastes delicious. It has a nice little kick. And I'm gonna put just a little bit of black pepper. It's like a sprinkle. And just a little bit of garlic powder. That's probably like 1/2 teaspoon right there. Give it just a little bit more, it'll finish thickening up, and that is ready to go. So I'm gonna turn the heat off and just let it finish thickening it up with the heat that it already has. Cast iron is good for holding heat, so it should be done quite quickly. And we're gonna begin doing our Alfredo. Alfredo is super quick and easy, and you'll see in just a minute. All right, here we go with the Alfredo. So we're gonna be using about 3 tablespoons of butter. This is room temperature butter. Because we want it to melt in the pot. Okay, and the butter is starting to boil a little bit, so now I'm going to start putting in some of the garlic. And this is just like a garlic paste. And the reason I'm putting it now is because I feel like the butter and the garlic in the beginning cook nicely, and it'll have a better flavor. Some people like to put the garlic after. I believe it first. It just gives it a nice flavor. It brightens up that butter really nicely. It cuts it almost in the acidic form. I have the temperature on a high heat right now because I wanted that butter to melt down, but I'm going to lower the heat just a little bit. And I'm going to start putting in some heavy whipping cream. I'm going to be putting in a cup of heavy whipping cream. And I'm going to be mixing. All right. That's about a cup. I'm going to put about an ounce of cream cheese. Cream cheese is going to even make it more thicker. I lowered the temperature now to a little bit under medium because it's already been boiling, so I don't want to overboil it because I have just 2 more steps. This is a really easy, simple sauce. I love it. It's delicious. I just learned actually how to make it recently. I was the types, I never liked buying canned Alfredo, but I did like buying it already done at the store. But now that I know how easy it is to make, I'm definitely making my own because it tastes so much better. All right, I'm just gonna keep mixing this for a minute. I'm gonna be putting in some black pepper. And as you can see, I've mixed down nicely the cream, butter, and cream cheese. And like I said, you only needed an ounce of cream cheese. It's turned nice and creamy. And our last ingredient is a cup of Parmesan. This is grated Parmesan. And I'm not gonna use the full cup right now. I wanna see how it ends up thickening up. So it looks like I didn't even need the full cup. So mix that up really nicely, and it should be done real soon. I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of garlic powder and a tad bit of salt. And this should be done in just a minute. As you can see, it's mixed in nicely. Beautiful consistency, nice and creamy. It will hold on to whatever type of pasta you use really nicely. So I turned off the heat. I put a little bit more cream, about half a cup of more cream, just to make it a little bit more liquidy. It was a little too thick for my liking, and now it's perfect. And you'll see the end result in just a minute. Now I'm gonna put the pasta that I'm gonna be using in this recipe, which for me it's gonna be a heart of palm pasta. It's a low carb alternative, but you can use whatever type of pasta and just mix it in there. So I'm gonna pour that in there. And just cover it with this Alfredo sauce. This stuff is bomb. Look at it, it's soaking it up just beautifully. There we go. Here we go, you guys. Final countdown. So we have the pasta that has been covered in the homemade Alfredo. So here we go. I mean, it's thick, it's cheesy, it's fresh, great ingredients. All right, y'all see that? And that's a pretty hearty pasta. So sometimes you could mix the shrimp in. I'm gonna actually put the shrimp on top. And the shrimp has a very good flavor. It has that Cajun seasoning. And because it's such a creamy pasta, the sauce that the shrimp has is acidic. And that'll cut that very nicely. a little bit of cilantro, a lime on the side, some fresh Parmesan, and y'all see this goodness. So this is the final result, y'all. I mean, look at that. It is beautiful, delicious, fresh. Enjoy.